Good evening, everybody, and welcome to History Bite number 8, dated August the 15th, 2020. I'm Walter, your mobile historian and blue-collar scholar. This History Bite is entitled, George Washington Was America's First President. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, Walter, duh, we already know that. And I'm glad you do, because that's correct. But there are many people out there who doubt that that is the case. There are people out there who put forth false truths. One such as John Hanson was the first president of the United States. If you never heard that name, okay, fine, great. It's not really much to hear about it, because guess what? He wasn't, all right? And those that put forth that foolishness, which is all it is, prove how little they actually know about American history. But not to sound condescending, but once I break it down, you'll see, how truly ridiculous that statement is, that he was the first president of the United States. For the record, George Washington was the first man to hold the title President of the United States of America as an executive in the sense that we know of under our current Constitution. All right? The Constitution that went into effect on the 21st of June, 1788, when New Hampshire became the ninth and decisive state to ratify it. George Washington was inaugurated as America's first president on the 30th of April, 1789. He had no predecessor in that office. He was an executive, the first of its kind, all right? We had not had anything like that before Washington. All right? So, with that understood, let's move over to this guy, John Hanson. John Hanson was one of many presidents of the Congress of the Confederation, the national governing body under the Articles of Confederation, which was America's first government that was in effect from the year 1781 until it ceased to exist when our current Constitution came into effect in 1789. Okay? John Hanson, like I said, was one of many people who held the title of President of the Congress of the Confederation. That office, which was largely ceremonial, had virtually no power whatsoever other than what the Congress itself chose to give it. All right? The President of the Congress of the Confederation was not an executive. He sat there and essentially looked pretty and presided over debates, acting as an impartial moderator. All right? He had other limited roles, but in no way was this office comparable to the chief executive of the United States of America that we know of it. All right? So, and I also add, so where does the John Hanson was the first president come into play? I'm glad you asked. John Hanson was the first president of the Congress of the Confederation when that body adopted a resolution that its presiding officer, its quote-unquote president, would only serve a one-year term. Right, okay? So that means John Hanson had several predecessors to himself in that office. He wasn't even the first president of the Congress of the Confederation, people. So, I hope I've busted that stupid myth that some people put out there that Hanson was the first president of the United States. Because he wasn't even the first president of the Congress of the Confederation. So that proves that anybody that tells you that has done no independent historical research on their own. And I am happy to be the one to bust that silly myth. John Hanson was not the first president of the United States. He was merely one of many presidents of the Congress of the Confederation, our first national government. And that role was ceremonial. It was not an executive. It was virtually powerless for all intents and purposes. So the next time someone tells you that John Hanson was America's first president, you tell them, do some research, and you'll very quickly see that George Washington was America's first president of the United States. Thank you for listening to History Bite number 8, and I'll talk to you at the next one. Take care.